Well, welcome to Northern Lights Spiritual Center. Northern Lights Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Lights Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We at Northern Lights Spiritual Center acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded ancestral lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. And we seek to resist the erasure of indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Carol and Ron Harris. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. So for our meditation today, I invite us to just all settle into wherever it is that we are. So if we're seated, to just kind of push into the seat a little. Become aware of the support, the texture of the chair or sofa or wherever it is that we're sitting under us. And as we just allow ourselves to have a greater awareness of our physical bodies, seated or standing, just breathe in slowly on a count of 4. And hold the breath for a count of 2. And then release on a count of 4. And again, breathe in on a count of 4. Hold it for a count of 2. And breathe out on a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we settle into our seats and settle into our breath with a greater consciousness, perhaps you can hear or notice in the background the sound of rain falling. And just consider the rainfall for a moment. The clouds up in the sky have reached a certain equilibrium, a certain amount of moisture filling them, to a point where it can no longer be held onto. So the moisture just falls from the clouds. Imagine that just like the rain our breath can leave us and consider, as we consider our breath and the falling rain, consider the concept, consider the experience of freedom. That the rain simply falls, that the breath simply leaves our bodies. There's a freedom in simply letting go. Letting the breath out. Letting the rain fall. And just be in that space. Be in that space of released breath. Be in that space of falling rain. Simply enjoy that experience of freedom. If any judgment or worry arises, just let it go. The way the raindrops fall down, the way our breath falls out of us. If thoughts of shoulds or what ifs arise, simply let them go. As we let go of breath and the clouds release the raindrops. Just relish the appreciation of letting it be. Just enter this moment free. whatever arises. Just watch as it rises and watch as it falls. Notice the capacity to choose. To choose whether to latch onto and hold the rising tension, or just let it rise till it reaches its point and then falls like the rain falling down. Continue to attend to the breath coming in and ready to go back out. Let this kind of action, this simple surrender to the moment, the simple surrender to the breath, to the raindrops falling down, and if you want, join me in this little affirmation. I am as free as my breath falling out. I am as free as my breath falling out. I am as free as my breath falling out. I am as free as my breath falling out. And just take stock of how we are seated or standing. Allow ourselves to wiggle our fingers, to let our attention expand to our bodies. If you want to wiggle our fingers or toes, just wiggle them. If you want to push your feet against the ground, push your feet and feel the ground supporting you back. And as you feel prepared, come back to the room where you are. Continuing to breathe. Continuing to remember that freedom is no farther than each breath we release. And I say Amen. I say Ashe. And I say, and so it is. For today's reading, we are going to reacquaint ourselves with something called the global vision, a world that works for everyone. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of the divine. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with the divine, connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where every life discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for all. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement, and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous, and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. And finally, we envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. And so it is. Please join me for this month's chant. So many ways I can go where I'm going, so much I can see, all that life is showing. I can give back more than I'm owing. I can receive all that life is bestowing. Each step along my way, treasure it and celebrate. Stand and say, I am on the way to love. So many ways I can go where I'm going, so much I can see, all that life is showing. I can give back more than I'm owing. I can receive all that life is bestowing. Each step along my way, treasure it and celebrate. Stand and say, I'm on the way to love. Second verse is you. So many ways you can go where you're going, so much you can see, all that life is showing. You can give back more than you're owing. You can receive all that life is bestowing. Each step along your way, treasure it and celebrate. Stand and say, you're on the way to love. Third verse with we. So many ways we can go where we're going, so much we can see, all that life is showing. We can give back more than we're owing. We can receive all that life is bestowing. Each step along our way, treasure it and celebrate. Stand and say, we're on the way to love. Now back to I. So many ways I can go where I'm going, so much I can see, all that life is showing. I can give back more than I'm owing. I can receive all that life is bestowing. Each step along my way, treasure it and celebrate. Stand and say, I'm on the way to love. I'm on the way to love. I'm on the way of
Well, good morning. I am Reverend Mykal Amaré, if you didn't know. This is our last Sunday in February. I had to think for a second. And actually, it's a great day. Today's talk is the journey to freedom. And that can look different to everybody. I mean, I was just sitting over here and thinking about this journey that we're on. And I have to say, this is the best I have felt in a long time. I was speaking with Reba before the service and explaining, because on Friday I had a new stent put in my heart, so a little tweaking now and then doesn't hurt. Yesterday I got my first vaccine, which doesn't hurt. And I woke up this morning feeling good. And that in itself is a miracle. So that's part of the journey to freedom. One thing, we have to take care of ourselves. Because we can't be free if we're not taking care of ourselves. Our physical, our mental, our spiritual, every aspect of our being, we need to take care of. And we have to find what's right for us in this journey. Because what's right for me may not be right for you, and may not be right for your neighbor. Each one of us, we're so individualized that we don't always go down the same path. We don't share the same path. And that's okay. We share a lot of different things on that path, that we can come together in community and be with each other and support each other and love each other. There's this is a part of a statement Ernest Holmes wrote in What We Believe. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. And we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. In there it says, it shall be attained by all, not just some, but by all. And that we believe in the unity of all life. So many times we just think it's, just for us only, If you don't walk the same walk I walk, it's not for you. And that's wrong. I will say that. That's wrong. It's not right. And so that's one way we need to proceed down this journey of life into freedom, knowing that this can be attained by all. Actually, it says this will be, or sure to be attained by all, which I interpret as will. And so yesterday we were up north. I was getting my shot, and we were behind this big pickup, and had several bumper stickers on it. And something got me, and it said it was a veteran, and it said, "Freedom is not free." And I said to Reverend Vaughn that that's true. Freedom is not free. I mean, there have been many thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives lost to get this freedom that we have. And in so many different ways, freedom has to be fought for sometimes. And it's constantly being fought for. I mean, this is Black History Month, which I don't know why we have to have a month, why we can't just, recognize and honor it 12 months of the year. But the African Americans in this country had to fight for everything they've gotten, to vote, to sit at a counter. And it's still going on. Maybe not that specific thing, but it's still going on. And it's not only African Americans, it's brown-skinned people, and now Asians, that are being attacked because of the quote-unquote propaganda of the Asian flu, which is barbaric. And so freedom isn't free. It costs lives. And in the Bible it says, and the truth shall set, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Now what truth is that? Is it, to me, it is the truth of who you are, of knowing who you are, and what you are, and whose you are. This truth, to be able to be free, to be yourself. This morning on one of the news programs, there was this African, I believe he's African Latino. He was just elected to, I think it's the House of Representatives. He's one of the first ones, or he is the first one, I believe. And he felt, the question, I forgot what the question was, but he had said that how freeing it is to be able to be himself. And in every walks of life, if you could be yourself in your family, at your job, at your church, out on the street, for God's sake, that's freedom. That's allowing you to be free, to stand up, to be who you are. And we each need to take a stand for each other's freedom. To know the truth, to be the truth of the essence of who we are. And our time should be devoted to knowing the truth that sets humanity free from problems of ignorance. There is a lot of ignorance. And that truth, which alone can bring enlightenment to the world. If we could somehow purge the world, the earth, of ignorance, what bliss would that be? Because there's so many things, so much fighting, so much stuff, I guess, that goes on. It's most of it's because ignorance and fear. So if we could alleviate ignorance, I think that would be a wonderful thing. And to enlighten the world, that war should cease, that people should live together in harmony because they have recognized the divinity within each other. And that was by Ernest Holmes. To recognize the divinity in each other. And then another quote was, out there in the vast reaches of outer space, and here in the equally vast reaches of inner space, everything is in order. Our task is to begin to understand that the universal mind is resident everywhere, and also of necessity within us. Our prayer is that the truth be made known, that it cannot fail to be revealed. The truth be made known, that it cannot that it cannot fail to be revealed. And I like that also of necessity it dwells within us. I'm not exactly sure why the necessity. However, Spirit does reside within us. And it resides around us and through us. It is everywhere. In religious science, we say that we honor all the truth found in other religions. I'd like to believe that. I find that it doesn't always seem to be that way. But sometimes we find the need to criticize, to judge other religions because they aren't the same. They don't do what we do or the way we do it. I remember the first time I went to I was raised Lutheran, and I remember the first time I went to a non-Lutheran church. It was a Unity church. My boss thought I would enjoy it. And we were sitting there, and it's starting, and one of the ministers or practitioners got up and said a prayer honoring all religions. And I'm going, whoa, what is that? Because I really never heard that before. And then I thought about it, and I thought about the name of the church. It's Unity. Duh. And it is a great thing to honor all religions. Because like I said earlier, we don't all follow the same path. And what's good for one is not necessarily good for the other. Now, Reverend Vaughn's mother was a devout Catholic. And every time when she came out here, I made sure I found this one church where she could go to Mass. And I felt good about doing that because that is her. That is, her path. And it's not mine. And I try not to push my beliefs on others. It is nice to sit and to discuss with someone else of another faith, of their belief and my belief. Just like a guy I used to work with. I'm sure he's still praying for me. Because he said he was praying for me to find the right path. And I said, well, prayer is prayer, and I'll accept it anyway. And that's what I said a couple times yesterday, too. I said, I'll accept any prayer. Because prayer is prayer no matter what religion, no matter what sect or wherever you're coming from. Speaking good for someone else is good. And so in this way, one thing we can do is we can create a space that is life affirming and revealing to the truth of our divinity. Living that truth out loud, consciously, actively, and powerfully. In other words, to take a stand for what we believe in. I remember when I was first going through practitioner training, and I was working with that same individual, and he would ask certain things, and I was, I guess, afraid to say what I believe, and then finally down the road, I questioned myself, okay, what is it I really believe? And then so finally then I was able to come out, and when he asked again, to discuss and say it without being ashamed, being afraid, or I'm not sure exactly why. Because sometimes we don't do things because we don't know why. It's just, I think it's fear. Fear is the biggest thing, I believe. And then allowing to awaken the divine truth of their being for the purpose of living life to the fullest. Allowing others and recognizing that divine truth in each other so that each of us can live our lives to the fullest. and not deprive or take away from anyone else's. There's no reason for that. There's no justice for that. Each life on this earth is sacred. Each life on this earth is true. It may not look on the outside, but the essence that they were created in is the truth. This is from the Reverend Vaughn read this earlier, but there's a couple I want to repeat about in the global vision. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. Now I can go through that, and we can declare that it's true, but if we look around, it's not happening. There are people going hungry. There are people living on the streets. More people now, I think, than ever. There are people that are cast out because of who they are. Maybe the color of their skin, maybe their sex, maybe their sexual orientation. That fits into this, but is it happening? Not really. We can do better. We have to do better. And then we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. Respect and honor. Is that happening? Not so much. A world where the kinship with all life prospers and connects through a guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. These two, I think, are probably my favorite out of all those that he read. And, because we need to strive to do better. We have to. To be a global community, to take care of each other, to lift each other up, and not judge and criticize. Because you see someone on the side of the street sleeping or whatever and say, judging them for, well, how did they get there, What can we do? The other night we were watching The Good Place, which is quite the show. And they've discussed, there's the four of the main characters, are being guided by Mykal and Jane, and Mykal he was the architect of the Good Place at one point, and Jane is
Janet.
Janet? Oh, I have her name wrong. Janet. Okay. What is Janet? She's a robot? I don't know what she is. She knows everything, and she can create everything. So she's omnipotent, I guess. Anyway, they're trying to get these other the four characters, Eleanor, Chidi, Tahani, and Jason, to change from who they were because they had died and gone to the Good Place. But however, the Good Place really wasn't the Good Place, and so now Mykal tells them that there is no way they can get enough credits to get back into the Good Place now that they know what the plan, everything is about. So after hearing this, Eleanor comes up with this idea. She said, well, we know we can't get into the Good Place, but maybe, I'm getting chills, maybe we can help other people to get these quote-unquote credits so that they might get into the Good Place. So they could have gone all different directions. But she said, why don't we try to help somebody else? And that is her totally opposite of who she was before she died. It was, me, and to hell with the rest. And so letting go of what is good for them, because they knew that they weren't going to be able to achieve this, she suggests that they do something good for someone else. Being selfless is a good step on the journey to freedom. Because if we're all about ourselves, then you might as well just be on a little island or on a whole new planet all by yourself. Because I believe that's one reason we're here all together, is to help each other, to carry each other along the journey. I remember when I was in Little Creek, Virginia, before going to Vietnam, it was survival training. I was 18, so I was young. I was pretty fit. And so we had this Marine sergeant, or whatever he was, drill sergeant, I wanted to say, because he would make us, we'd do running, we'd do all these different exercises, and there were a lot of Navy guys in there that were, in their 30s. They were old, 30s and maybe early 40s. It seemed old, out of shape. And so every time somebody would lag behind, we had to drop and do push-ups. And I hate push-ups. That's not one of my things. Eventually, we wised up. And every time somebody got behind, two of us that weren't behind got back there, got on each side of that person and helped them along. And finally, he said, that is what it's all about. Carrying each other and helping each other. And it's like, oh, makes sense. So yeah, we need to carry each other. Sometimes we need help. We're the ones that need to be carried. I've been there and done that, and people have been there for me. And so, really just reaching out, or reach out and touch, but be careful when you're touching nowadays. We cannot free our spirit, nor be free in our mind when we withhold human liberty from another. We cannot be free when we kill, maim, prohibit, cage, strike, spit upon, spray tear gas on, or shoot another. We can only be free when we respect and honor all life. This past year was not a good year. And I was complaining about, the other day about, I thought 2020 is gone. Because there was a bunch of little stuff that happened this month, and I was, I guess on my pity pot and not feeling my best or not being best. So I said, I thought 2020 was gone. What the hell's going on? And this is February of 2021. Everything is supposed to be peace and harmony and all that good stuff. But sometimes stuff happens, and we work through it, and that's part of the whole journey. Every second of this life is a journey to the ultimate freedom, to returning back to, I want to say the ethers, the stars, wherever our spirit may go. And justice is automatic in the mind of God. God doesn't say, oh, there's justice for you, but not you, because of whatever you may put on it. So the unjust treatment of any people, which includes black, brown, native, Asian, LGBTQ, anybody who's treated unjustly, that is not God's intent. And that shouldn't be our intent either. To take this journey, I want to say journey together to freedom. While evil, which sometimes I believe there's several people that are evil, but then I have to step back and say, well, deep down inside I don't believe it, but at the moment, their actions maybe seem evil. While evil itself is not a thing, when do we not live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of life? We are violating spiritual laws. A world where kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience would not include police brutality against people of color, asserting privilege, nor denying housing for people of color. We prosper and connect by making compassionate choices with a heart toward connecting, to connect with each other, because we are connected. We are divinely connected with each other, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And sometimes the connection that we have can be strained. But we are connected. We grow by celebrating life, the life of each and every one of us. We celebrate your life, I celebrate my life. If we can celebrate each other, then some of the walls that we've built, or the walls, like I like to say, the walls pop up. Because I remember years ago, I had these walls. And when someone would get too close, it was like a trigger. They would pop up. And that was safety for me at the time. I couldn't let anybody in that close because I would get stunned. So freedom is not to have these walls, not to have these triggers that come up. Yes, there are things that are going to come up because, like I said, we don't all disagree. I mean, we don't all agree. We may all disagree, you know, and that's okay because of who we are. So there's an invitation here. One is to use our spiritual practices of visioning a world that truly does work for everyone. Sit down and contemplate, okay, what would that world look like? What would I have to do to facilitate my part of creating a world that works for everybody? Secondly, is to realize that we really are all one. And sometimes that might be biting our tongue, or maybe just walking out of the room, or turning off the television when somebody's speaking on it. That drives us insane. Maybe I'm the only one, but I doubt it. There was this nurse on Friday. I'm laying there, I couldn't move, and TV was on, and she's going through all my records and stuff. And she looks over, she said, "What are you on?" And it was CNN, and somebody was on there, and I had it on mute. And she said, "How can you watch that? How can you watch it? No wonder you have to have your heart fixed." You know, and it's true, because you watch some of this I don't know what it is, stuff, I'll say. And yeah, it's going to raise your heart rate, your blood pressure. So just turn off the TV sometime. Take a walk. The third is to, that we are all one. Therefore, our choices include doing only what we would want done to us. Basically, the golden rule. And now to celebrate the innumerable inventions, contributions food, science, intellect, artistry, and culture of all people, which includes people of color, as part of the freeing ourselves from discord. To recognize these things, to recognize these people, to recognize the contributions that have been given, yet not recognized. And as scientists, religious scientists, we practice this to discover the pure, kind heart that each of us possess. Practice to discover the pure, kind heart that each of us, that you possess, that I possess. It's there. We are it. We are the love that we've been looking for. We are the kindness we've been looking for. We're the strength. Each of us are that. And the final note I want to just say, just to practice forgiving yourself for the times you did not choose to love. It will free you up to love more. Just as when your heart gets broken, it cracks open so it expands. Forgive yourself. Because sometimes we don't. Forgiveness is a huge part of this journey that we're on, this journey to freedom. Because if we don't forgive ourselves, we have these chains and binds that are chains that are binding us and not allowing us to be free. To be free of spirit, to be free of thought. We're holding ourselves back. So we need to forgive ourselves for the times we do not choose to love. And so it is. And in that forgiveness, in that choice that we have, I give thanks for the choice to forgive. I give thanks for the choice to love, to be, to express who and what I am. I give thanks that each of us have this choice to be who we are, what we are, and whose we are. For we were placed here on purpose. Purpose to be loved and to love. I believe the main purpose we are here is to love and to learn to love. Sometimes we have to learn to love. To love each other in that divine way. So we have that choice to be free, to move down the path, to allow others to be free, to allow and assist others on their journey. And so with that, I give thanks, and I let it go, and I let it be. And so it is. I want to give thanks to Reverend Vaughn for his songs that he writes every month, his chant, for the reading, and for all that he does for this center. And I want to give thanks to everyone who has joined us today on Facebook or on Zoom. And just to let people on Facebook know that on Zoom we hang around afterwards and we discuss, give feedback, clarification, whatever's needed. So if you want to join us on Zoom, there's always a link on Facebook to our Zoom. And if you care to contribute to Northern Lights Spiritual Center, which your contributions are what keeps the lights on, the heat going, pays the rent. you could donate by going to our website, which is northernlightspiritualcenter.com, and hit the donate button. Any contribution is greatly appreciated. And I want to appreciate, I do appreciate each and every person here. Everyone that's come into this place. For this is a sacred ground, a safe space to be. And so I give thanks, and we'll see you next week. Reverend Vaughn will be speaking next week. And so it is. Have a wonderful day.